Welcome, welcome. If you've been watching my channel, you will be aware by now that I'm a big fan of diversifying between lots of cryptocurrencies. And I've been also hinting at making a video to help you guys determine which cryptos are the best for your risk and reward profile. I've come up with my own composite score system to help you determine which cryptos are the safest and which ones have the most upside potential based on Elliott Wave Theory. And it's not based on anything else. I have a lot of experience developing scoring systems in the corporate world, and I've integrated some of those elements into this. Scores are arbitrary. So these scores that we see here in column P, they don't have any meaning on their own. They are meant to be compared to one another. So it doesn't mean one crypto is 7.4 or 5.8, anything. There's no units. And of course, this video is to explain how the scoring system works because there is some nuance to it. There is some complexity. However, I will be producing plenty more videos that go over the individual cryptos analysis, how I got to the score I got to, and how each of the cryptos compares, and even some insight into what I'll be buying. So without any further delay, we're going to go over high level what this is all about. So this is, of course, an Excel spreadsheet, and I've got my scores broken out over here. You got your total composite score, the max gains, and the risk safety score. The return projections are based on targets that we have to the upside, whereas the strength of pattern or the risk is based on the structure that we have set up. We have our total score at the top. That is the composite score, the overall score, and it is made up of our return projections, what we call the max gain score, and the strength of pattern, the risk score. So you got your reward on one side and your risk. The reward is all about how much can we gain, and that is what we're calculating based on the short-term return projection and the long-term return projection. The max gain score is based on how high we think we're going to go. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I have Fibonacci extension targets overhead, and it's a combination of what we have in the short term and the long term, the details of which I will go over later on in this video. The confluences, of course, are based on how many Fibonacci extensions align with that particular target that we have. So that's something else that we'll go in details with, but the more, the merrier. If you just have one, it is deducted and the score is normalized. The other side of it is the risk side of the coin. The risk score is based on, number one, the history, which is how long has the crypto been around, and the structure. Obviously, an impulsive 1-2 setup is your best, most bullish setup. A 3-4 setup for a fifth wave up isn't bad. Something like a diagonal is a little less dependable. If you have something corrective, that's still could be bullish, but not as good as having a full-on impulse. So these are all scored and normalized against each other. Based on the history and the structure, it gives you a decent idea of how safe that crypto will be to invest in. The total composite score, as I mentioned above, that is these two scores multiplied. So it gives you a good mix of your risk and reward. How good of an overall outlook do we have when you compare both? And there are some cryptos that stand head and shoulders above the others. So this is a very interesting way to look at it, where you can have your cake and eat it too. Now, low scores don't necessarily mean that the crypto is bad per se. Cryptos all move together. So if our best cryptos have a good setup to go up higher, that is good news for most of your other cryptos too. So don't fret if your altcoin doesn't have a high score. This is, again, purely an allocation and diversification tool. It is to help you determine where you want to take a risk, what you might want to throw some money into, and gives you a good way to diversify. This is just a video on the education of how my scoring system works. There will be plenty more videos detailing how I got to the scores for each of these cryptos, as well as how they stack up against one another. So stay tuned for that. Now that